So this guy asked me how to convince his or her parents. I faced the same situation in my journey. I failed three times, two times, and in my third attempt I cracked the exam. So it was a heck of a journey. So convincing my parents wasn't easy at all. Coming from Navy, quitting Navy, there was a societal pressure. There was also a pressure from my family. How could you leave such uh, like a job like Navy? But nobody, people who were living on shore, they had no idea about my life as a sailor and what I saw, what I faced, and my reasons to quit Navy. So it was challenging for me in the beginning to convince my parents. I did try to talk to my dad, but he didn't listen at all. He was like, I'm not going to pay anything, uh, and you are on your own now. And it was okay, but he asked me to do call center jobs or become a cab driver or something, and I didn't want to do that. I did go to call center, but the kind of environment I saw, I didn't like it. I'm like, I will do something else, but not this. Then I talked to my mother. I told her, this is we are going to get if I happen to crack NIT and IIT, and this is what I actually want to explore. There is a as a nomad soul, this at least I can go 1 inch closer to freedom and the corporate structure which I saw in my previous jobs, Navy and jobs after BTech. At least this is a little different than that, and luckily it's different than that. You know, there's no set of structure. So I will talk about jobs, the life of jobs, the life, everyday life of a designer in other videos. So I went back and talked to my mother, and she got convinced. She was like, go whatever do whatever you want to do, but at least crack it. If I'm putting my word outside and putting it online, then you should crack it. She did and talked to my father. So for 2 years, I stayed with my parents. I tried to crack it, but it was hell of a toxic. The whole environment. There were fights. There was no support from my dad, and that passive toxicity. So it was really affecting my studies. So 2 years, I couldn't crack it. In my third attempt, I decided to move out. So we have this very shady place. It doesn't have paint and all. I will show you the video once I go back. So I have this shady place. There are no windows or no paint. There are like I can literally see these mice and all playing around, and cats running around. So it's a mess. But I wanted peace of mind. I wanted to create my strategy. I wanted my personal space away from this toxicity and also the healing part. uh, Depression and with being with such a family, it was affecting my studies. So that was the best decision which I took. My mother convinced my dad to give that house keys to me, and I went there. So instead of convincing your parents, you should listen to yourself. You should convince yourself why do you want to do this, and then pick one of the parents who is really close to you. Tell them what are the things you are going to get. It's a long term investment, but you will make sure that things turn out to be in your favor. So convince one of them. Let them talk to each other. In terms of money, don't think about it. I was giving this guy guitar coaching, so I was making around 2K a month. So I was using the 2000 rupees to buy stationery. I still remember. Now I'm making more than a lakh, but yeah, wow, 2000. So I was using those 2000 for my cigarettes. Sometimes I needed smokes to release my stress, and for my stationery, for notepads, mm, and sometimes, occasional fuel for my kinetic Honda. And that was it. You know, that was it. So you don't need to convince society, you don't need to convince your friends, you don't need to listen to people. So many people are going to come and they will tell you it's not worth it. You will also feel like, it's not worth it, because this war, you are not going to get so many friends. This is kind of a war, dude. you know so if you look around, people, you will find people preparing for railways, gate, MBA, but you won't find people preparing for design. Whenever I talk about design, people are like, fashion design kar raha hai kya? The other people like, AutoCAD kar raha hai kya? I'm like, nice, nice. So you are alone in this journey, man. Nobody is going to understand your journey. This is a fight. You are going to fight alone. Until you crack this exam, then you will have a very good community. You kick my ass if you don't find that community. Once you crack the exam. But until then, you are on your own. So you don't need to convince people. You don't need to convince your parents for money, for support. Just tell them you need 2 meals a day and some peace. That's it. That's all you want. There were days when I used to go to temples to eat food and come back and prepare. There were days like that. So it depends how desperate you are. It totally depends how desperate you are. I'm still recalling that information. I'm getting emotional. So I used to uh, look for a place next to beggars, street beggars. Some I used to think, someday I will end up with them, and that thought itself was so scary. कि हाँ यार, कंबल कहाँ से खरीदूंगा, bro? It gets so cold in Patiala. But I was relieved that in Patiala there are gurudwaras. They give you food for free, and I was so happy. Even if I end up homeless, I will have some food in my belly, and I will sleep with animals or beggars. Somewhere I will go and sleep. But no matter what happens, I'm going to go and give these 2 exams a try. Until I cross that upper age limit, I will keep trying. See, I had dilemmas that, is it worth it or all? But first time I was so convinced, I was so desperate, determined to prove it to myself. I can do something. I can sit in a competition and crack it. It was for my self-confidence. I kept fighting for this self-confidence and this self-esteem, this image of mine. So at one side, it's me, fear of ending, and that fear of being a homeless person, fear of being a person without any penny, and at one side, this whole society, my family, my relatives, they kept saying, my grandmother, she kept saying, tell your son to go and make some money. All the people, they are buying, they are making money, and look at your son, he is not doing anything at all. So many people, they are coming to my house, they are saying, why don't he do anything at all? Sorry. So it was a war, it was a whole war thing which was happening simultaneously. But I'm so lucky that I have a mother. I have a mother who was so supportive back then. She's still supporting me. And no matter what people say, money is good, bro. Money is really good. Even if I leave this job, I join an NGO, I will be able to make good enough money to survive. Even if I don't do anything, I can become a teacher, and so the decision was good. Coming to the point, convincing your parents, do they even matter at the end of the day? You are going to face yourself. You will look into that mirror, you will see yourself, not your parents. Keep scribbling. The depression is going to come, you will be stressed out, you will feel exhausted, depressed, without energy. These are the things, it will keep on coming. But the only thing which will keep you focused is that will to go into these colleges. Not in terms of NIT or IIT. Just make up your mind. Take that challenge, which is not very easy to crack, and go all in it. I know I don't know whether I answered the question or not, but this is what I did. This is how it was for me. You know, it was not directly convincing my parent, but actually fighting fighting them, telling them this, I don't want to do what you want me to do because I don't want to regret later. This is what I want to do. If you're going to support me, totally fine. If you are not going to support me, at least you can give me a small place to stay. Even if that you can't give me, I will become homeless. I was homeless for 6 months. I will become homeless. And then, but I'm going to do this. I'm going to do NIT and IIT. Honestly, the thought which I was not going to tell you guys, so I told this thing to my mother. Either I'm going to crack this exam, or I'm going to die trying. As simple as that. I'm not going anywhere. I will crack this exam. She got convinced. The moment I said this, she got convinced. And after that, things became very easy for me. Heck of a journey, man. Wow. So, yeah, keep shooting. I will take some time off from my work and keep making videos, uploading videos. Tell me if I want to change anything in the format. I take long pauses, I know, because I don't write anything. There is no script. I just blabber and you know go back to my work. But if this blabbering is helping you, so good to go. Working out for both of us. Okay, guys. Take care.